I just wanted to chat to everybody briefly about why appealing to everybody or trying to appeal to everybody means that you are actually doing the opposite. You are basically not appealing, and that's really sounds really odd, doesn't it? And it's like the opposite of common sense, because you think, well, I want to help all horses. I want to help as many horses as possible. I get that. Like, I want to help millions of horses, just like you guys. But you, particularly when you're starting out in business, trying to be all things to everybody just has the opposite effect. Now, this is going to be really short because we've got the retreat next week, and think of this as a warm-up, because on day 3 of the retreat, I'm talking about positioning your business. But where I've been chatting with lots of you, and sometimes I'm so curious, I love hearing about everyone's businesses. Sometimes I ask people, which horses do you work with? And I hear students going, any horses, any horse can have a massage. Oh, I can do physio on any horse. I get that. Of course you can help all horses, but you can't position yourself as able to help every single horse, because you're making your life harder. And that's why I wanted to just touch on this subject now today, ahead of the training in the retreat. So think of this as a little warm-up session. So effectively, appealing to everybody means you appeal to nobody. You won't be remembered. You won't be really stamping your authority as an expert, and you're making life so much harder when it comes to marketing. Like I said, it's the opposite of what seems logical and what seems commonsensical, but trust me, this works. We all want an expert. Think of if you go to your GP, as we call them in this country, or just sort of general doctor, other parts of the world. You go with something, and then he or she will then say, okay, well, I can do this for you, or go and see this specialist. If your general practitioner said, yes, you need to have, I don't know, a knee replacement. Yeah, I do surgery in the afternoons. Yeah, I do a bit of that as well. It doesn't fill you with success, does it? Fill you with, what's the word? Not success, confidence, that's the word. And it's just the same when it comes to your business. You need to be an expert. It's all about the client. Think of me as your client. It's all about me. It's all about my issues, and your job as a practitioner, whilst you can help all horses, and I'm not saying you should turn horses away, but when you're starting, you really need to have something that people will remember you for. Otherwise, like I said, you're just making life so much harder than it needs to be. So expert status is so essential. Now, I'm going to talk all about this next week, but what you are remembered for, it might be a particular way you have with working with horses. It might be what you can offer as well as like your main therapy. It might be that you work in a particular discipline. It might be that you work with leisure or non-ridden horses. It really doesn't matter, but honestly, it makes it so much easier to get your marketing and get everything on point. Like I said, if I think of me as your client, if I come onto your social pages or your website, I want to feel like, oh God, yes, that's me. I want to be reading, and every sentence I'm thinking, yeah, oh God, so right, yes. I hate it when I feel like this about my horse, or yes, I worry that me and my horse are doing that. It needs to be about me, the client. And so often I go onto practitioner websites and it's like 900 reasons why your horse might like a treatment of whatever description the treatment is, signs that your horse could need treating, why it's beneficial, and it's useful information, but it's just like it's been taken out of a textbook. It's not very exciting. I would rather read things like, say the horse that I ride. I've got a lovely little horse that I'm going to be riding much more over the autumn, so I'm so excited about. If it was things, we're not going around Babington, let's be clear. To appeal to me, if it was things like, think your horse is fine, but would love to get a double check. Yes, I'd be thinking that, yeah. don't quite trust your judgment as a rider, want to make sure your horse is feeling $1 million, I'll be like, yes, that's what I want to feel. It might be why my horse still needs treating, even though it's not competing. So, and I'll be like, oh yes, okay, so it's okay for my horse to do this, even though it's not going around badminton or whatever. Does that make sense? Like, it's got, everything that you're putting out has got to appeal to your target clients. You will always get other people who aren't the people you're necessarily starting to target. And that's fine. Like, everybody is welcome, but your website, your social media content cannot appeal to a Grand Prix dressage rider and the lady who has got 3 rescue Shetlands in her garden. Both of them could need and want your services, but you're going to have a hard time speaking to both audiences because they're so different. And I hope that makes absolute sense to everybody. It's all about making me feel as a client that I'm in the right place. Yes, you get it. Because when I'm deciding on who is going to come and help me look after my horse, whether it's a farrier, whether it's a riding instructor, whether it's a practitioner, I'm buying into that person as well as their skills. Like, I need to feel like we connect. I need to feel like you get it. I don't want to work with people. I don't want to pay people money. I don't want to invest my time, resources with people where I don't feel like we're on the same wavelength. And that's where it is really, really important that you are and the clients are singing from the same hymn sheet. So I'll talk about this more next week, but I've launched both sides of my business. It's one business with 2 sides with really clear niches. So I have the training side and I have the coaching side. And the training side started as one course, horse first aid course. Owners mainly came, practitioners also came. Great. All I did was talk about horse first aid. I talked about other stuff like, I don't know, I got soaking wet today when I was riding. Do you think it's better to ride with a thick coat or 2 coats or whatever? Just generic horsey fun stuff as well. But horse first aid was my message. That meant it grew and it got traction. That meant that people remembered me. That meant that I was invited to speak at places like Horse of the Year show. I've been on podcasts. I've spoken to riding clubs, loads of different groups. Oh, it's been so much fun. It's been incredible. And although I went on and developed, I've got loads of other courses. I have a conference, nutrition training. If I'd started by being like, yes, I'm the person to come to for anything to do with your horse. Yeah, I can talk to you about anything. I can do riding, I can do training, I can do nutrition, do horse first aid. Too muddled. No one is going to remember that. Whereas people remembered the girl that's always talking about why you shouldn't use hippie scrub. The girl that's always saying chuck the blue spray, purple spray, whatever in the bin. That got me noticed, got me remembered. And it opened the door to work with so many other people, other companies. Fantastic. And on the coaching side of my business, as you know, I don't help any equestrian. I help practitioners. That's it. Simple. It's great. And again, that opens more doors, and people know what I do. I help practitioners with their mindset and business strategy. Done. I don't help people that run tack shops. They're most welcome to come and join, but that's not my speciality. Other people will come along on the journey, but my core clients will always be practitioners. And you can see how this makes perfect sense. And you can do the same in your business. It's just all about identifying who you want to talk to, who you're best placed to help. And there'll be loads more in this next week when we talk about positioning. But I just want you to wrap your head around the idea that you should be appealing to everybody. It's a bit like, I was talking to somebody about this this morning. When you're at school, you are told, well, you're not very good at this. You need to get better at this. And actually, it's really cool because in business, you can do the opposite. You do not have to be good at everything. You work on your strengths until those are superpowers. And the stuff that you're a bit crappy at, you either don't do it or get someone else to do it. Yay, amazing. So we have to reprogram our minds around this. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to be an expert in every bit of equestrianism. And you don't have to, and you shouldn't, in my opinion, be trying to appeal to everybody at all. Like I said, you can stack in more types of clients later. That's no problem. Just like I did with my training business. First aid, first aid, first aid, first aid, conference, nutrition, anatomy days, dissection days. It all worked. But like I said, if I tried talking about all of those to get me off the ground, it would not have worked. So please don't make the same mistake. Try to be really, really, really specific. You're much better to be a bigger fish in a smaller pond, and then you can go into a different pond. But what you don't want to do is stay like a tadpole. Does that make sense to everybody? I really hope it does. I would love to hear your comments and see everyone's thoughts on this, because, hi Annette, thanks for joining live. It feels like odd to hear what I'm saying, I'm sure for some of you, because it sounds like the opposite. And like, I know obviously the aim, help all the horses. Totally. I'm the same. I'm with you on that. But you can see how you can't get your marketing, you can't get your social content, you can't get your website to gel with every single horse out there. Just pick what you're good at, what you love doing, what you know there's a market for, and expand and build from there. Like, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. And again, so much more on this on the retreat next week. Fiona actually should be a perfect example. She's got a lovely collection. I know she won't mind me saying that, of horses. Some get ridden. I think some don't get ridden as much or at all. And many of the horses that she works with are horses that don't get ridden. And oh my goodness, the difference that she makes in them is fantastic. So she also works with horses that are ridden, but she's able to speak in her marketing to people who want to work their horses but don't always want to, or struggle to get in the riding time as well. And again, that would be really different from, say, Olivia, another lovely client who works with show jumping horses. She is really interested in show jumping. She competes in show jumping. They're her core clients. These are just totally different messaging. Oh, Annette, that's really interesting. Wish to work with miniatures. Oh my goodness. That's so cool. Firstly, what amazing pictures you'll have. Secondly, when you get, do you own miniatures yourself? That'd be really interesting to know. When you get into the head of the people you want to work with, it's so easy to think of what are they struggling with, what's annoying them, as you know. And it can be stuff related to the horses, but it can be like little things like, I don't know anything about miniatures, but other than the obvious, I'm guessing sometimes, depending where you are in the world, and I'm guessing sometimes it's a struggle to find miniature stuff. I'm guessing it can be a struggle I'm thinking of like a trailer, like partitions, they just must go under everything. So you can make, business content. It can be really fun. You can be thinking, I don't know, 5 ways my miniatures have escaped, have yours done the same? So much fun. And people will just be drawn to you, and that like a magnet, because it'll be like, she gets it. Olivia, the show jumping example, so much content she can be creating around training and keeping show jumpers fit and healthy and on the road. But she could also be doing some fun stuff, like which are the best white jumpers, what kind of pants should you put on under your white breeches on a show day so that everyone can't see them, just silly things. But when that's your job, show jumping and wearing white jumpers, these are real problems. So it doesn't matter who you decide to help with. It really doesn't at all. What matters is that you just start with a clear audience. You know them inside out. You know how you help them. You know how you're the solution. And you just plan all your content around there. And trust me, adopting this method, you will find your content creation is a breeze. Because if at the moment you're just like, oh my goodness, what shall I say? I could talk about anything. And then I bet loads of you never really post anything because it all seems so overwhelming. Whereas, like I said, gave the example of my first aid, it was easy. I just repurposed content from my course. Easy. There was so much to talk about. I was talking about the courses. I was talking about the vets I was working with on them. I was giving bits of the course, as posts. It was simple, and it was really fun. And you can just do exactly the same. Amazing. Annette, that sounds fantastic. Well, yeah, and do you have your own miniatures, Annette? That's what I would love to know. You are Marston Method, Equine Performance Body Work. Fantastic. Well, they are going to be some very well looked after miniatures. So I would love to hear your thoughts on niching down and why appealing to everyone means you appeal to nobody, because it's a reprogramming the brain thing. It's definitely wrapping your head around it. Love to hear your thoughts. And I am so excited about the retreat. I cannot wait to see you all next week, Monday the 12th till the 18th. Every single day I will be training and teaching you at 1 p.m. UK time. So excited. Make sure you have found messages from me or Mary. We will have been in touch with you. Make sure you're on the email list because you'll just get the stuff straight over to you. You'll get your workbook in the next couple of days sent over to you. And block out the time in your diary. If the time zone doesn't work for you, don't panic. There will be replays, but they'll only be available until the end of Sunday the 18th. Final point to remind you on is, Annette, I'm looking forward to it so much as well. Final point, make sure you've entered the competition. It is so simple. All you need to do is invite 2 practitioner friends to the retreat, and they will just, that's it. All you've got to do is invite 2 friends to the retreat, practitioner friends to the retreat. Once they're in the group, we will enter you into the prize draw to win some business books. Really easy. Oh, Katie. Oh, lovely Katie. Actually, everyone's going to be hearing from Katie next week. Feel like you had niche, then got a bit broader and lost focus. And that's fine, Katie. Katie and I worked together last year. Katie worked on her niche, and it's natural to broaden it. What can then be hard to Katie, and I think this is what you're saying, is that you then sort of forget who you're speaking to. And it's absolutely brilliant to add in more to your niche. So, kind of broaden it and expand it. But you just want to make sure you keep your messaging really, really clear, because as I said, it can just become too broad. Katie, I'm thinking you are dog and horse. So I guess when you've got 2 separate audiences but with a strong crossover, that's quite fun because you can be speaking to both of those audiences. That's very different, speaking about horses and about dogs. That's totally different to trying to speak to, as I said, the owner of a retired Shetland and a Grand Prix show jumper or something. So yes, Katie, I hope you find, I'm just going to plug my computer in to find a bit more focus. You'll enjoy the retreat as well. And if you haven't entered the competition, get inviting, because you can't win the books if you haven't entered the competition. As I said, it's going to take literally seconds of your time. Just pop a message to 2 friends with a link to the group, and then you're done. Comment on the competition thread so that we can definitely see that you've invited them. But when they join the group, there's a question that says who's referred you. Just make sure they put your name, and then you're done. Amazing. Well, I'm so looking forward to the retreat. Thank you so much, everybody, for being part of this. I'm so excited. Like I said, workbooks will be with you very soon. Any questions, just post them in the group. I'm here to help. And yeah, let's see everybody on Monday. I'm sure I'll be popping into the group before then for an amazing week of live training. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Take care. Bye.